What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. Guys, this is the day we've all been waiting for. Week 1, the college football season is finally here. And today, I'm going to be going through 10 games that I think you got to see in week 1. I'll do this every week. I'll pick out 10 games that are going on that week that I just think you got to sit down and watch if you have the time to. And go ahead and preview those more in depth and predict them. And if there's a game on here that you want to see me predict that is not on this list, please leave a comment down below and I will try to respond to that as soon as I can. But of course, guys, before we get into that, hey, I just want to thank you guys for the support on the channel as of late. I know I'm not a college football expert. I'm just a huge fan, and your support does mean a lot. So whether that's liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, doing anything, it really does mean a lot to me. You can feel free to do any of those things that you'd like. So let's go ahead and get into week 1 predictions. There is a game on tonight, UAB and Jacksonville State. It's the Montgomery kickoff. I'm not concerned about that game. Again, just concerned with some of the bigger, more interesting games that are happening this week. And we're going to kick off with a group of 5 matchups. So again, this game is going to be on Thursday. All times you're going to see are going to be in Eastern Standard Time. And all the lines and odds that you see, all the lines and odds you see are as of recording this video and are subject to change. So Boise State and UCF are going to be breaking in new head coaches in an intriguing group of 5 matchup. Again, this one's 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. The 2 new head coaches coming into this one should be a very interesting matchup. UCF going to be the 5-point favorite with 68 being the over and under. I expect this to be a high-flying offensive battle. You got 2 very experienced quarterbacks with Dylan Gabriel at UCF and Hank Bachmeier at Boise State. Khalil Shakur is a very good wide receiver for Boise State, while Jalen Robinson is a very good wide receiver for UCF. So expect those quarterback to wide receiver connections to be prominent throughout this one. But with both quarterbacks being so experienced, both of these defenses are not horribly great. So which defense gets the better pressure on the quarterback, can force the other team's quarterback into some bad throws, some misplays, some misreads, things like that. I think that's going to be a huge key here in this game, but I cannot go against in this one UCF's high-flying offense. They've had such a high-flying offense over the past couple of years. I don't see that changing even with Gus Malzahn coming into town. Boise State, I think, will keep this one close for a little bit of the game, but with this one being in Orlando in the bounce house, I think UCF going to be able to pull away here, get this win to start off 2021. Number 4, Ohio State gets an early road test as my Buckeyes travel to Minnesota to play the Golden Gophers. This one at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Fox. Also a Thursday night game. Ohio State, the 14-point favorite, and 63 being the over and under. CJ Stroud was named the starter for Ohio State. Is he the guy? My answer is going to be yes. Maybe not for the reason that you think. He's getting a lot of Heisman hype right now, is, I believe, 5th best in terms of Heisman odds, and he's even above Sam Howell, which I found absolutely insane, as Sam Howell is my Heisman winner. But, I mean, I'm not going to argue with it, me being an Ohio State fan, of course. But I don't think the Heisman hype is deserved for a guy who hasn't even thrown a collegiate pass yet. So we'll see how CJ Stroud does, but he does have the best group of wide receivers in the entire nation, with the likes of Olave, Wilson, Smith, and Jigba, Fleming, and I can go on and on. Some freshmen coming in as well. Ohio State's absolutely loaded on the offensive end, but Minnesota's got a weapon of their own, and his name is Mo Ibrahim. Over 1,000 yards in 7 games last year, 15 touchdowns, was insane for the Golden Gophers last year. Not enough people recognize what he did last year, and is my pick to be leading rusher in 2021. I think he's going to be insane this year. He's going to be lights out. And again, against the Buckeye defense that was shaky at a lot of points last year. I think a lot of this defense is going to stiffen up. Should have one of the best defensive lines in the nation, but the linebackers are inexperienced. So again, if Mo Ibrahim can break past that, who knows what happens. The Buckeyes usually struggle against teams from the opposite division in the Big Ten when they go on the road. Look at 2017 against Iowa, 2018 against Penn State, but not this time around. I do think Minnesota can keep it close. I think the score at halftime might surprise some people, but I think Ohio State's got too much offensive talent to let this one slip away. Even if their defense doesn't play as good as I think their defense can play, I still think their offense finds a way to pull it out, and they get the win. My final score prediction, 34-21. North Carolina is going to be battling Virginia Tech in an early ACC test for Sam Howell and company. Of course, mentioned it earlier, Sam Howell is my Heisman winner. North Carolina, 5.5-point favorite, 64 being the over and under. This game, Friday night game, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. The Tar Heels are going to be having a slim group of wide receivers in this one, not just counting the losses that they had in the offseason, okay? I'm not counting those right now, but when you look, of course, Daz Newsome, De'Ami Brown, both those guys are gone, along with the running back tandem of Carter and Williams. Now, they are bringing in Tyson Chandler, a running back transfer over from Tennessee. I think he's going to serve the Tar Heels really well. But at the wide receiver position, they're going to be slimmer in this game than they will in most. There are a couple wide receivers that are battling injuries, including Bo Corrales, who has been ruled out for this game. But they still got guys like Josh Downs and other playmakers as well that can really lift this offense. And I think North Carolina is going to be just fine. Can Tech's offense keep up with North Carolina's offense? This is going to be a high-flying offense for sure in North Carolina. Can Braxton Burmeister and company keep this one close? I think yes. Again, with the game being played in Blacksburg, anything goes. Again, this is also college football. But the defenses have got to step up and make some big plays. Both these defenses struggled a lot last year. I expect improvement out of both of these defenses in 2021. So we'll see what happens here. Here's my score prediction. I do have North Carolina winning, but I think Virginia Tech jumps out to the early lead. I think they're going to have the lead at halftime, but I think North Carolina buckles down, drives forward to get the win here. 37-31 is my final score. Penn State and Wisconsin are meeting for a thrilling top 20 battle in the Big Ten. You'll see another one of those here in a little bit. This is the big noon kickoff game on Fox. Wisconsin's the 5.5-point favorite, with the over and under being squarely at 50. Both these teams struggled last year. Wisconsin went 2-0 to start the season before losing their next three. And then, of course, before winning their last two to end the season above 500. In Penn State, it was just too little too late. They started the season 0-5, but they did win their last 4 games. So for Penn State and Wisconsin, both these teams looking to have much better seasons than they did last year. Graham Mertz looked excellent in the game against Illinois last year, but since the COVID bug hit him and the COVID bug and the injury bug hit Wisconsin, he didn't play the same. I definitely think he's going to improve his play, but just by how much, right? That is the question. I think this is going to be a defensive game. I think both offenses, yes, while there's talent there, there's still some things that both offenses, have got to work out. But overall, I do see this as being a defensive game. Both defenses have a lot of great playmakers that I think are going to step up and force turnovers. These two teams turned the ball over a lot last year. A lot, more than they should have. And I don't think Paul Chryst or James Franklin are going to take turnovers lightly this year. Both teams, what I've seen in camps over this offseason, they've cleaned it up. They're a little cleaner with the football. They're smarter in their decision-making. But ultimately, it does come down to whichever defense plays better. And in my mind, the better defense belongs to the Wisconsin Badgers. So I have Wisconsin winning the game 27-21. I do expect a fair amount of offense here in this game. And my final score prediction, 27-21. I think the Badger defense comes up large and gets this one done. Number 1 ranked Alabama hopes to repeat in 2021 as national champions. They got to start off their campaign against a pretty interesting Miami team. So, of course, ranked 14th. The line for this one is insane. I always find the lines for Alabama games to be quite entertaining. This one by 18.5. 61.5 is the over and under. This game is at 3:30 on ABC. Of course, this game is being played on the neutral site in Atlanta. So Miami, a team that's returning a lot of production from last year, especially on the offensive end, really only losing Brevin Jordan at tight end. That's really like the only major loss that Miami has. While Alabama, yes, they're losing a lot of talent, but it's Alabama. They don't retool, they reload. And with Bryce Young coming in, taking the reins, he's going to have some nice options to throw the football to. Julio Billingsley at tight end, John Mechie and Jameson Williams, a transfer from Ohio State at wide receiver. He's got some talent out there. Brian Robinson at running back. And when you look at Bama's defense, that's one of the things I have on my what to watch for. they're just loaded. The best group of linebackers in the nation. Defensive backs are going to play well. So is the line. Alabama's just loaded everywhere, all over the field. And it's going to be hard for Miami to win, but I think they can do it if D'Eriq King plays a near perfect game and gets a lot of help from his supporting cast. Again, this Miami team is not losing a lot from last year, and they're even bringing in Charleston Rambo, a transfer from Oklahoma, to play again in the wide receiver position. I think Miami can keep this one close, but I also feel like this is going to be a game where the final score does not tell you how close this game actually was. I think Bama pulls away in the fourth quarter while Miami is keeping this one close. Before then, I think the game at halftime, you're going to find going to be a pretty close score, but I do think Bama pulls away in the fourth and gets a nice win to start off their quest to repeat as national champions. Indiana and Iowa are going to look to continue their momentum from last season, as Iowa is one of the hottest teams in the nation at the end of last year, and Indiana, a surprise in the Big Ten. This game is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Big Ten Network. Iowa finds themselves 3.5-point favorite, while the over and under 45. We know Indiana can throw the ball with Michael Penix. How healthy is he? He looks to be pretty good, but again, is he the same as last year? I mean, again, we know Indiana can throw the football with Penix at quarterback, and then you have guys like Freifogel and Marshall and Hendershot there catching passes. And we know Iowa can run the football with one of the better running backs in the nation in Tyler Goodson. But how well can Indiana run the football, and how well can Iowa pass the football? I think it's going to be an interesting thing to watch in this game. Indiana struggled running the football last year. Stevie Scott didn't put up the best numbers, and they had to rely on Michael Penix to do a lot of that lifting. I think with Stephen Carr coming in, that's going to change. And then for Iowa, again, Tyler Goodson, one of the better running backs, and that's what Iowa's going to do first. They love to run the football, and Petrus is still a young developing quarterback that doesn't have the weapons that Iowa had last year. Of course, Amir Smith-Marset gone, some other weapons as well, but they still got guys like Nico Reganey, among others, and Tyler Goodson is a pretty solid option coming out of the backfield as a pass catcher as well. I also think that the offensive and defensive lines are going to end up taking control in this game, and whichever team can control the line of scrimmage more, I think has a great chance of winning this one. Iowa's going to be the favorite, and it's very hard to bet against Kirk Ferentz at home. Agreed. But I still think people are underrating this Indiana team. I feel like rating Indiana at 17th does not do it justice how good this team is going to be this year. Last year was not a fluke, and I think Indiana is out to prove that this year, and I think they're going to start it off nicely. I think they're going to get a nice road win here against the Iowa Hawkeyes. My final score prediction, 26-24. Look for Indiana to surprise people yet again in 2021. Louisiana is going to look to pull off another big-time Big 12 upset against. This time it's going to be against Texas. So, of course, Louisiana, top team in the nation in returning production. Texas does find themselves as the 8-point favorite, over and under 58. This game is at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time on Fox. Again, I just mentioned it. Louisiana, a lot of experience coming back. #1 team in returning production, even with the losses to Elijah Mitchell and Trey Regis at the running back position and Joe Dillon on the defensive line. Even so, Louisiana's got a lot of players that, well, have seen this story before, right? They just pulled off a huge upset against Iowa State last year, albeit I don't think they're going to get as lucky with special teams this year as they did last year. Texas is breaking in a new head coach in Steve Sarkisian, who just won a national title at Alabama, and a new starting quarterback, and they went with Hudson Card. A lot of people seem to think it was going to be Casey Thompson. There was good reason for that, but Hudson Card is going to be a better fit for a Steve Sarkisian-style offense, as he is more of a dual-threat option. And limiting mistakes is something that Texas is going to have to do. Louisiana capitalized off the mistakes that Iowa State made last year because they're good enough to do that. Why do you think they're ranked in the top 25? If Texas wants to avoid a fate like their Big 12 counterpart Iowa State did last year, they need to limit their mistakes. And I think that's what happens. I think Texas limits the mistakes, buckles down late in the game, and I don't think Louisiana gets as lucky with special teams, but I do think they hang around in this one. 35-31 is my final score prediction. I do have Texas winning the game. Do not be shocked if Louisiana pulls off the upset here. They are that good of a team. They can do it. This is the big one, right? This is the big matchup that everyone is looking forward to. Georgia and Clemson are going to meet in Charlotte for the most anticipated game of 2021. 7:30 prime time on ABC. Clemson, the 3-point favorite, with 51 being the over and under. It's going to be a quarterback battle. It's going to be a defense battle. It's going to be back and forth play. This game has the recipe and all the ingredients to provide an instant classic when these two teams meet in Charlotte. This is going to be outstanding. This could be a potential college football playoff rematch, a potential national title rematch, as both of these games are playoff hopefuls for good reasons too. Georgia might have the best group of wide receivers they've had, even with George Pickens not likely playing most of the season. And Clemson got Justin Ross back. He's been cleared to play in this game. JT Daniels and DJ Uyunglele are both quarterbacks that have that it factor. They are really good. Both these defenses are going to be really good. The quarterback battle is going to be something to watch. And I think whichever defense comes up larger late in the game, which defense is playing better, that's going to be the team that wins this game. I could see either team winning this game. I really could. It is that close for me. But what did I say in the offseason? I'm going to go with the team that I trust more. And up to this point, throughout the entire offseason and still, I trust Clemson more. They've proven they can win the bigger games. Now, Georgia, 2018, right? They beat Oklahoma. They make it to the national title game, but they don't pull that game out. And even that year in the SEC championship, Auburn didn't feel like the right team to be there. And that was proven, again, in the national championship game when Georgia got beat. And ever since then, Georgia just hasn't been able to get over the hump. I trust Clemson more. I trust Dabo Swinney more. I'm going to give the win here to the Clemson Tigers, 27-24. I think this one's going to be an instant classic. Please tune into this one. It's going to be some of the most fun football you have ever watched in your entire life. This will be quite the game to watch. I think Clemson pulls this one out, though. Again, I just trust them more. It's going to be back and forth. I could see either side winning it. My prediction is going to go in favor of the Clemson Tigers. We got another Tiger team up, and it's LSU. They got a tough test. They're going to be set to play UCLA, who's already battle-tested, and they smoked Hawaii. They looked outstanding in that game. LSU still finds themselves as the 3-point favorite, which is not a surprise to me. Over and under 65. This game is at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Fox. LSU still finds themselves as the 3-point favorite, but I absolutely think UCLA can win this game, and they showed that in that game against Hawaii. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson has to have a better day passing the football if they're going to want to get past LSU. They have a really good defense over there at LSU and the best defensive back in the nation in Derek Stingley. LSU quarterback Max Johnson is going to be out to prove something, as well as Miles Brennan down with an arm injury. Won't be out for that long, but Max Johnson going to be out to try to bring this LSU team to a win. I think Brennan is better than Johnson. That's just my opinion. There are probably going to be people that disagree with me on that. Probably, I say. And I'm not a huge fan of either LSU quarterback, but overall, Max Johnson, again, if I were an LSU fan, I'd be a little shaky about this game, and I would be nervous because UCLA has looked dangerous. Do they continue to look dangerous? I think they do. I think they keep this game close, but I just think LSU is going to be able to pull this one out. I really want to pick UCLA here, but something in my gut is telling me that LSU will find a way to pull out this game. This game is going to be close throughout. I feel like this is going to be a game that's going to have the upset alert bells ringing all game long. In my opinion, LSU doesn't listen to the bells and finishes out this game. They win 33-31. And the final game we're going to be looking at today is Notre Dame. They're going to be trying to get back to the college football playoff as they face an interesting Florida State team. So they're favored by 7.5, and the over and under being 55.5. This game's going to be 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on ABC. And it's a Sunday game. College football on a Sunday. Yeah, right? No NFL games on this week, so college football takes over Sunday as usual. The Irish are going to be breaking in new offense and a new quarterback in Jack Cohn, a transfer from Wisconsin, coming off an injury last year, but was cleared to play even before the season ended last year. I think Notre Dame's going to be relying on the run game here. So Jack Cohn going to have a nice settling in party here in this one. And when Florida State announced their roster, like after training camp and everything, they had two quarterbacks, which, most teams do. So they had Jordan Travis, or Mackenzie Milton. And that or is important because they didn't list the starting quarterback. And likely we won't know who the starting quarterback is up until kickoff, like literally when this game starts. That's when we'll know who the starting quarterback is. So, I mean, who starts at quarterback for Florida State? That's a big question as well. I think this Florida State team has a lot to work on, including figuring out who that starter is. So I'm going to go ahead and say Notre Dame takes care of business relatively easily here. I think Notre Dame wins this one 38-20. I do think Florida State scores because no matter who's at quarterback, there are some weapons at Florida State that will get them into the end zone. But overall, there are just some things that Florida State's got to work on. Maybe they can be a surprise team later down the line, but here in week one, I think Notre Dame takes care of business relatively easily. And there you have it, guys. There are my week one predictions. Do you feel like there's a game I missed? I know there are a couple I skipped over. Houston, Texas Tech, Maryland, and West Virginia, among others. So if you would like to hear my thoughts on any one of those or others, please leave a comment down below. You can also leave any other comment down below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good, fun stuff. But most importantly, remember to play hard, but tailgate harder, guys. College football is back. Are you as excited as me? Probably. This is the best time to be alive right now. Week one kicks off tonight, UAB in Jacksonville State. But otherwise, guys, enjoy your week one. I'll be back on Thursday or Friday with my Ohio State fan reaction. And then on Tuesday, I'll be posting my week one review. So stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. I'll see all you guys later. Goodbye.